modern times, dream in the 20th century. Sigmund Freud gave new life to the lost art of studying dreams in his major work, Die Traum die Tongue, The Interpretations of Dreams, written in 1899. Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung was interested in Freud's ideas that he visited him in Vienna in 1907. After 330 letters were exchanged, their correspondence were terminated due to differences in their belief. Freud, 1949, believed that dreams were delusions and illusion of a psychosis and contained mostly hidden wish fulfillment. Jung came to believe that dreams content present us with revelations that uncover and help to resolve emotional issues, problems, religious issues, and fears. Jung believes that recurring dreams are proof that dream manifested issues neglected in a conscious mode will show up repeatedly in dreams to demand attention. Many of the symbols or images from these dreams will return to each dream. Man never perceives anything fully or comprehends anything completely. He concluded that symbolic terms are used to represent concepts that we cannot grasp. There is a conscious use of symbols. As seen in religious symbolism, there is an unconscious use of symbols, such as spontaneous dream symbols. Both are to help us comprehend the world around us, whether sleeping or awake. Jung believed that the deeper layer of unconscious, which he calls the collective unconscious, is an inborn and universal part of the unconscious identical in all people. Jung thought dream could help us grow and heal through the use of archetypical symbols. These symbols Jung proposed are mental images from the collective unconsciousness which help us to recognize and integrate parts of ourselves that we have disowned or are apprehensive about. Various archetypes are represented with myths, fairy tales, religions, as well as dreams. Among the numerous archetypes he documented are those of birth, rebirth, death, power, magic, the hero, the child, the trickster, God, the demon, the wise old man, the earth mother, and many natural objects such as sun, moon, stars, rivers, fires, and animals. In his quest to discover the role of dreaming, Jung also concluded that dreams are not only relevant to the dreamer's life, but they are all parts of one great web of psychological factor. Such things as events, movies, and people seen the previous day also play a role in dreaming. Sometimes referred to as day residue, these memories leave impressions for the unconscious to deal with when the ego is at rest. The unconscious reenacts these glimpses of past in the form of dream. Jung estimates that he interpreted over 80,000 dreams by the time he retired in the 80s. Through these, he surmised that dreams and the universal imagery seem to follow a pattern among all individuals with whom he worked over time. By learning to observe the patterns within one's dream and learning to consciously interpret symbolic content, the process of individualization, gaining a higher state of consciousness through a broadened state of awareness, can occur. This enables one to overcome many personal problems, fears, and anxieties while realizing full potential. Gestalt therapy, developed by Frederick Perls, is interested in immediate emotional dream work. Rather than interpreting and linking the dreams with past history, Perls has the dreamer act out all aspects of the dream. Someone dreaming of a glass hue, for example, might find it useful to be the house and describe himself as such. He might then act out being the house. For instance, the dreamer might surround another member of the group as walls of the house would thus become aware of how it feels to be a warm, inviting structure for another. In this case of a glass house, the dreamer might describe himself as a transparent, fragile, or easily shattered. Much dialogue between dreamer and the dream object is used in Gestalt dream work as it becomes as a mental block breaker and another method of self-discovery. It is useful for the dreamer to experience this process with each part of the dream in order to learn about and re-assimilate the disowned part of self. Other 20th century dream theorists, including Adler, Erikson, Masons, Boss, Buller, Greene, Hedlier, Garfield, Horney, Hartman, and Petrosky, studied dreams. A common thread among most in that dream provide opportunities for interpersonal and interpersonal growth. The broad range of current dream-related research includes learning during sleep, gender differences in dream content, drug and effects on dreaming, sleep deprivation and effects on dreaming, the healing properties of dreams, depressions and effects of REM, emotion and effect of dreaming, non-REM dreaming, lucidity during dreams, dreams in the news. Dreams do discriminate. Racial makeup mimics real life. Here's a new version of the old question: do you dream in color? What color are the people in your dreams? A new study finds that the racial makeup of dreams tends to match up with the proportion of different races people run into their daily lives. A person's own race matters such as well, said study researcher Steve Hoekstra, a psychologist at Kansas Wesleyan University. If you are, say, a black student at a predominantly white school in a predominantly white community, yes, you dream more about whites than do other black people in other communities. Hoekstra told Life Science, but you also dream more about blacks than most people do in your same community. Why do we dream? To ease painful memories, study hints. National Geography. REM sleep acts like overnight therapy, experts suggest. Dreaming men act like a type of overnight therapy. Taking the age of painful memories, a new study says, in a recent experiment, brain scans of people who viewed emotionally proactive pictures and then went to sleep showed that the part of the brain that handles emotions powered down during rapid eye sleep movement or REM sleep, the stage in which the dream occurs. What's more, the subject reported that the image had less of an emotional charge the morning after. This suggests that the REM sleep may help us work through difficult events in our life, the researcher said. Subconscious saves the day when hungry brains fails. Complex decisions should be made subconsciously rather than consciously. This is the conclusion of Dutch researcher Martin Bos. Hungry brains have difficulty making complicated decisions, but our subconscious function fine even functions fine even when hungry. The more intricate a decision seems, study shows that adults have dreamlike thoughts during sleepwalking and sleep terrors episode. A study in December 1 issue of the journal Sleep shows that short, unpleasant, dreamlike mental activity occurs during sleepwalking and sleep terror episodes, suggesting that people with these sleep disorder may be acting on dreamlike thoughts. Waking up memories while you sleep. They were in a deep sleep, yet sounds such as ticklettle, whistle, or a cat's meow somehow penetrated their slumber. The 25 sounds presented during the nap were a reminder of earlier spatial learning, though the Northwestern University research participants were unaware of the sounds as they slept. The research strongly suggests that we don't shut down our minds during deep sleep. The brain is the center of our nervous system in all vertebrate and most invertebrate animals. Only a few primitive invertebrates such as sponges, jellyfish, sea squirts, and starfishes do not have one. It is locally in the head, usually close to the primary sensory apparatus such as vision, hearing, balance, taste, and smell. The brain of a vertebrate is the most complex organ in its body. In a typical human, the cerebral cortex is estimated to contain 15 to 33 billion neurons, each connected by synapses to several thousand other neurons. These neurons communicate with one another by means of long protoplasmic fibers called axons, which carry trains of signal pulses called action potential to distant part of the brains or body targeting specific recipient cells. From an evolutionary biological point of view, the function of the brain is to exert centralized control over other organs of the body. The brain acts on the rest of the body either by generating patterns of muscle activity or by driving secretions of chemical called hormones. The centralized control allows rapid and coordinated responses to change in the environment. Some basic type of responsiveness such as reflexes can be mediated by the spinal cord or peripheral ganglia, but but sophisticated, purposeful control of behavior based on complex sensory input requires the information integrating capabilities of a centralized brain. From a philosophical point of view, what makes the brain special in comparison to other organs is that it forms the physical structures that generates the mind. As Hippocrates put it, man ought to know that from nothing else but the brain comes joy, delights, laughter, and sports, and sorrows, griefs, despondencies, and lamentation. In the early part of psychology, the mind was thought to be separate from the brain. However, after early scientists conducted experiment, it determined that mind was a component of a functioning brain that expressed certain behavior based on the external environment and the development of the organism. The mechanism by which the brain activity gives rise to consciousness and thought have been very challenging to understand. Despite rapid scientific progress, much about how the brain works remains a mystery. The operations of individual brain cells are now understood in considerable detail, but the way they cooperate in ensembles of millions has been very difficult to decipher. The most promising approaches treat the brain as a biological computer